for yet another video. Now I have another treat for you. So for everyone that is curious on how you go about owning your first home, I have someone that can answer all your questions. So we have a very knowledgeable realtor. Her name is Miss Nicole Hepburn, and I'm not sure if there's any relation to Audrey Hepburn, but she'll let us know, and she'll be joining us. So Nicole, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to go ahead and answer all our questions.
Thanks, Deidre, and thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you, just to share with your audience on the process of home ownership. Actually, it's not as difficult as most persons think. You know, knowledge is power. So once you understand the process, then you are better able to prepare yourself and also make the right choices. You know, so today I'm just gonna run through the basic process, you know, what is required. So you're interested in purchasing your home. All right, this is a huge investment, you know, so of course you want to ensure that you find the right property and of course, you know, the right property at the right price.
Yes.
All right.
So let's just jump right into it. Now, can you tell us how long the process normally takes when you are applying for your home?
Up to 180 days, 3 months. 3 months.
180? No, that's 6 months. 90 days is 90
90
days
right.
is 3 months. 180 is like 6 months.
No, not 180, sorry, up to 90 days.
90 days.
It can take up to 90 days, and some actually take up to 6 months again, because you know, if there's any breach on the property, that kind of thing. For persons who are purchasing and using cash, it can take up to 30 days.
Wow.
You know, and mortgages as well can take up to 30 days. It depends again on the property, it depends on how quickly everything is moving. So once you have everything, once there's no issue with the property in terms of any breach or, you know, maybe, you know, there's a lost title or anything like that, then that stuff like that will make the process longer for you. All right, so your offer is accepted. You now approach your lawyer who will prepare the sale agreement, and once you sign that sale agreement, the clock starts ticking, you know. So if you're not careful, you might end up losing out on some of your deposits, you know, if it is that you decide to pull out for whatever reason, you know, or maybe you're not able to complete the process for whatever reason, you might, you know, end up losing some of your deposit. But these are things that your attorney will advise you, so that you know what it is that you're getting into.
Yes.
So the price.
Yes.
All right. Now, the very first step is to ensure that you know how much you can afford. All right. So you want to purchase a property, but you have to ascertain what your budget can accommodate. So as a realtor and also a banker, I'm a loans officer as well, the first thing that you would need to do is to approach your financial institution for them to do what we call a pre-qualification. So the pre-qualification entails basically looking at your income, looking at your monthly liabilities as it relates to loan repayments, credit cards, hire purchase, you know. So we look at what your income is versus what your monthly obligations are.
Okay.
All right, so after we have looked at that, we take into consideration what it is that your income can afford in terms of a monthly payment for a mortgage. All right, so after we have done all of that, maybe during the process of the assessment, we realize that, oh, well, you know, you have 2 credit cards, you might have an unsecured loan, you might have a car loan. So So we can look at consolidating, putting all those loans into one so that you get a lower monthly payment, so that you would be able to manage a bigger mortgage amount to get the ideal property that it is that you want. Alright, so the first step is to approach your financial institution. Alright, so that assessment can be done, and whatever it is that you need to fix in terms of, you know, getting your debts down so that your income can manage a monthly payment, you know, that's the first thing that we do.
So yeah, so you're saying that we need to approach our financial institution, and we should also have a budget. We should know what our budget can afford. So if we know that we're earning, let's say,
No, well, not necessarily you. The bank will tell you.
Oh, so
based
the bank
on-
will
right.
let you know.
The bank will let you know, okay, well, you can afford a mortgage of, let's say, 10 million.
Yes.
You know, so
And
so
so that
that will
26
clear
million
you.
house would be out of your reach.
Right, so you don't go looking for a $26 million property when you can only afford, let's say, a 10 or a $15 million property. All right.
So
And
we
guess
just have
what?
to be very logical.
Absolutely. And guess what? You might be able to manage the $26 million property, but you just need some rehabilitation.
Yes.
You need to probably get rid of those unsecured loans, pay down those credit cards, and get rid of them so that you're able to manage, you know, a much higher mortgage payment.
Yes.
To get the ideal home that you want. All right. So after you have approached your financial institution, most banks, we do joint financing. So the individual will not need to go to NHT.
Yeah.
The bank does everything for the customer.
Okay.
All right, so that is called joint financing. So what we do is we basically approach NHT on your behalf, and you will still get whatever it is that you qualify for with NHT. The bank will get that portion.
Yeah.
So let's say you qualify for the maximum amount of 6.5 million, which is the largest amount that any one individual can get. You can access the difference through the bank and at their rate, but you will get what you qualify for through NHT at their rates. So
And
you're benefiting from
I'm
that.
really glad you touched on that, because my next question had to do with the alternatives to NHT, because a lot of persons, when they hear the 6.5, they say, but that can't do anything at all. What can 6.5 get us in Jamaica? So I'm glad you touched on the alternatives. I know that NHT has the lowest
Rates,
rates,
right.
so that is why you really gravitate to it. But sometimes you really need to make
Right,
up.
right.
Even when you're joined with someone else, you may need to touch on that.
Right.
So what would be the alternatives? I know banks. Is there anything apart from banks?
All right, so you have your commercial banks, you have your building societies, you have your credit unions. No, I would encourage everyone, you know, just to see which institution is giving you the best offer.
A competitive rate.
A competitive rate, and not just the rate, but the terms. And you also need to look at the processing fee, and you also would want to go with an institution who knows what they're doing, because the home ownership process, the mortgage process is, you know, it can be very technical and detailed. So you would want to go with an institution that is established and they have been in the business for a while. They know what they're doing, and so the process for you will be seamless. They won't frustrate you during the process, because it's important for you to know everything that you will need in terms of documents, in terms of monies that you would need to come up with out of your pocket, you know, like processing fee. You would need to get a valuation done. So, you know, we can touch on the process. So the first thing is to get pre-qualified. Approach your financial institution, whether it is the banks, the credit unions, or the building society. The assessment is done, and then, you know, we can take it from there.
So normally, so I'm glad you talked about beginning the process. What I wanted to really know is what are the general requirements.
Okay guys, so this is where we wrap up the video today. Join us for part 2 where we will touch on the general requirements and also how overseas nationals can access Jamaican mortgages. Until then, have a great day guys.